Can you still hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. Kasi kanina, nag-discuss ko, naabot na ko mga pila ka minutes, and then you know what happened? Wala day sila, kaya naputol day ang internet, wala sila wala sila kablo. Ako na isa nila storya. Wala day sila kapaminaw. Okay, so our topic is on data visualization. Yes, there. So from beginning, let me see. This is an interesting topic, and then you will have to do your activity. Okay? So data visualization. What is data visualization? Start with the word data. So you're familiar with this one. I don't know, do you have statistics in high school?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Senior high.
okay. So you're familiar with some of the terms you already. So data, you have a collection of facts such as numbers, descriptions, measurements, and observation. So data itself is a result of research. So if you remember, you have an assignment for tonight, which is data. Data of the body proportions. Yes. So there are several types of data. We have what we call your qualitative data based on descriptive information. For example, yun yung mga names ninyo, tapos yung age, okay? So yung job, ano ba yung pinadescribe ko? There are four description yata doon about dun sa people na i-involve ninyo sa table, ba? You have your quantitative data based on numerical information. So quantitative data can be discrete, take only whole values, or it can be continuous, take any value within range. So yun yung mga measured. No? So continuous data is actually measured. So yung data na kukunin nyo about body proportion is actually a continuous data. Okay? Then we have methods of data presentation. You have your textual, your tabular, semi-tabular method, graphical. So yung i-present nyo tonight for your assignment was supposed to be your tabular method. I gave you already the table para kayo na lang mag-fill in. Ba? Then, what is data visualization? So, data visualization is the graphical representation. So, yung isasabit niyo, di ba, tonight, it does not have any graphical representation. So, ang data visualization is a graphical representation of information and data. So it is the process of taking raw data, transforming it into graphs, charts, and images that explain these figures and allow us to translate data from something complicated to something simple. So what is data visualization? It is visual communication, data storytelling, infographics. So you learn about infographics later on. Or do you have any idea what infographic is? Sino may idea? Anyone? Baka naputol na naman kasi ako. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So infographics come from
a chart or diagram.
yes. Infographics come from the word information, and you have your graphs.
Visual image diagrams.
Yes. The common general types of data visualization are charts, tables, graphs, maps, and infographics and dashboards. So let's have here an infographic. So it's actually a collection of imagery, charts, and minimal text that gives an easy to understand overview of a topic. So they use striking, engaging visuals to communicate information quickly and clearly. Yun ang infographics. This is an example of an infographic. Ito. This is an infographic which is information. It has actually information. If you take a look, on 1970, the first Apple computer was released in April 1976. This was the first computer readily available to the general public. For the most part, society was pretty green to the whole concept. Okay. Then 1980, after Apple, other companies like IBM started creating personal computers, and others followed shortly after, searching for new ways to introduce devices into people's everyday lives. Then in 1990, the technological advancement made in the 90s was revolutionary. It gave birth to the World Wide Web. So, nandun na yung www dot. No? It gave birth to the World Wide Web, better known today as your internet. So today, billions of dollars are made through this platform. So 2000, right? Then 2010. So if you take a look here, this is actually an infographics. May information siya about a brief history of technology. For dashboard, your dashboard provide real-time results by aggregating and extracting value from all the data collected, specifically the key performance indicators or KPI. Yun ang ibig sabihin ng key performance indicators. So it simplifies data into more manageable chunks of visual information that allows you to keep track on the more important details. So yung dashboard, this is an example of a dashboard. Take a look. Are you familiar with this type of dashboard? Sino nakakita ng ganitong dashboard na? Dali. Sino nakakita nun? Yan. Sino nakakita ng ganito na?
Dashboard sa grade, ma'am.
Yes. This dashboard sa grade. Sa high school na no? Sa college po. This is an example of a dashboard of the grade distribution for the first semester 2010-2011. If you take a look at this, wala siyang red mark. So meaning to say, during this semester, everybody passed the course. How about this and this? On the second sem, meron ng red dito. This red mark corresponds to actually the grade of 5. So, in this graph, this is a pie graph. This graph, notice that 2.75% got a grade of 5. And ang uno, ilan ang uno? You have 1.0 got a grade of 92.92 got a grade of 1.0. Notice na for each slice, dapat may indicator na grade or percent. Kasi kung hindi mo isusulat yon, it will not be very visible kung lines lang gagamitin. So in a pie graph, it is important that you write down the values in there. Okay? So this one, for the grade distribution, ano pa? Drop, INC, so withdraw, ito, mga INC, ito 5.5% ang INC. Ito, ang INC is 6.19%. Hopefully, ngayong semester, parang ganito makikita natin grade ninyo. Meaning kasi, kung pwede lang walang INC, pasado lahat, no? Walang 5. Okay? Now, okay, dito tayo. So, why do we have to do data visualization? Anyone? Bakit kailangan data visualization?
Para mas dali ma-understand ang data.
Yes. Okay. So that you can understand the data that you have. Specifically to answer questions or to discover answers, to make better decisions dun sa result ng data ninyo, to see data in context, to find patterns, to present arguments, to do meaningful storytelling. Kasi yun ang kailangan natin when we have, bakit ba may data tayo? Kasi you have to explain what happens to the data. And how do you do that? When you visualize the data, then you'll be able to see the result clearly. Okay? So there's a story behind your numbers. Tell a story with your data to communicate ideas and help make informed decisions. So it is only then when you have a data that is being visualized that you are able to make informed decisions. So ano yung mga types of making your visualization? We use graphs. Graphs are picture representation for one or more sets of information and their relationship to one another. So what are the types of graphs? Familiar kayo nito. Meron to sa high school, di ba? Bar graphs, histogram, line graphs, pie charts, scatter plots, time series graphs. So the contrast between numbers and graphs can be seen here. If you take a look at this, ito mga numbers, this is a table. Table lang to. Ang visualization niya is not that much, no? But if you have something like this is a graph already, then you can immediately see that there are more people who drink soft drinks kasi yun yung tallest dito, di ba? Yun yung ibig sabihin dito. Soft drink drinkers are 36. So, mean to say dito, if you take a look, madami palang soft drink drinkers. Diretso na makita. Compare it. Although you can see the numbers, but when you have the graph, you can immediately see the difference between this table and this graph. Okay? If you take a look, milk, ito yung pinakamaliit. So, this ay pinaka-less ang umiinom ng milk dun sa office nila. Okay? So, that's the contrast between numbers and graphs. So, does a bar graph look like? This is a bar graph. What can you see in the bar graph? Anyone?
Na bars.
Colorful
May bars. Anong indications? Anong nakita ninyo kaagad? What can you see? What can you conclude? Ano yung nakasulat
Red
dito?
velvet ang pinakataas of sales.
Okay. Cake sales siya. Tapos, ito ang sale. So, 12, mean to say, ang red velvet ang So, kung ikaw ang naay bakery, then, you know that red velvet is the most sellable. Mas daghan ka magbuhat og red velvet compared to sa durian cheesecake. Mas gamay man ang magpalit sa durian cheesecake. Okay? So, you already have to make an informed decision agad-agad with your graph. Histogram is an example of a histogram. What can you see in the histogram?
Grades of students.
Yes. Then,
Grades of
ano sa mga
students.
information ninyo makitaan? Diretso na, makita ang info, di ba?
Isa rin
2.0.
Oh, isa rin nakaunod. If you take a look, for sure, mathematics grade ito.
Pa-triangle siya, ma'am. Pa-triangle.
Yes, for triangle. So, for sure, mathematics ni kay ano, gamay ra diri ang tag-as din kani daghan ang diri dapita din ay at least duha ra man pud ang 5. So, dili kayo bugat. Usahay pagtaas mas para ni ang daghan ng 5 din kasi lisod ka itong exam, no? So, that's your histogram. Okay, histogram. So, INC na itulo. So, hopefully, ang atong grades, dili mo na itsura, hopefully, mas daghan ang diri, duha na, mabalian na, dito mato ang inyong, ang uno din, di ba, if you take a look, there are 9 students that get 2.0 din. Mas daghan ang naa diri nga side after 2. Okay? Mas gamay ang naada sa before 2. So, hopefully, ang sa inyo, mas daghan diri dapita, na side, padulong dito. Okay? Kani nga side mo na mabutang diha. So, mean to say, mga duha ang mauno, or more than 2. Now, what is a line graph? This is an example of a line graph. Now, the number of hours spent in studying GEC 104, that is, hopefully, if you do study your GEC 104. Okay, saan man na pagkuha og uno kung dili nagtuhan. If you take a look at this, pila ka hours siya mag-study? Kani, minimum lang ganin ni, no? On Monday, he spent how many hours?
2 hours.
2 hours.
So, on Tuesday, pila ka hours yung spend nag-study sa GEC? 104.
3 hours.
3 hours.
Wednesday, 1 hour lang. Busy
1
siguro
hour.
sa one subject. Oh. So, there are supposed to be 24 hours in a day. So, 24 hours in a day, kaning 2 days, gamay ra, ay 2 hours, gamay ra ni kaayo nga number of hours niya yung ituon sa check, no? So, but if you do that regularly, then that would be okay. Kasi, what is 2 plus 3 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1? Ang daming number of hours na yan if you add up. Okay? So, the number of hours spent in studying GEC 104. You will be asked to graph later on, pero pag-graph ninyo, you will have to make use of the some programs. Okay? So, line graphs, and you have what we call this is another line graph. This one is your line graph. This is also a time series graph. Take a look, my days, 8:21, 8:22, 8:23. So, as I've said earlier, I made this presentation last August, before pa, mga August 19, no? So, August 19 man yung forecast. So, mga before na klase. September man ta ng klase. So, naana ni sa internet, sa YouTube, ako na ning na-post. Just take a look at this one para paggawa ninyo ng activity ninyo, you have already a reference, okay? So, this one is about the temperature forecast of Iligan City. So the red numbers show the expected high temperature. So kani, 30 degrees, that was on 8/21 or August 21, then 29 degrees on August 22. If you take a look, ang tugnaw-tugnaw gamay was 21, 22, ito nandito. No? Now, for example, you are at Baguio. Do you think pareho lagi hapon ang graph ng itsura? Baguio City?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Okay. In fact, most of the time, kaning naadri sa ubos na to, kani, muna ang na dito sa ilaha, ang pinaka, ang temperature dito, yung range of 21, 20, 23, 24, 25. No? Taas na kayo ng 27 dito. So, kaning mga degrees nga na sa ubos mo na dito sa taas. Na siyang highest temperature. Okay? So, this one is a time series graph, at the same time a line graph because of the time involved here, or the days involved there. Okay? Now, we have what we call your pie chart. This is an example of a pie chart. If you remember the table that we discussed earlier, katong coffee drinkers, tea drinkers, so muna siya ang iyahang pie chart. So this pie chart here, if you take a look again, we have to write down the percentages on the pie para maklaro kay. 21% and 22% halos pareho lang sila. So you have to write down the percentage on each pie to be able to identify the percentages. Okay? Then we have your scatter plots. If you take a look at the scatter plots, anong klaseng scatter plot? This is about the driver's age in years and his maximum distance to read sign. Notice that as the driver ages, kasi magkatigulang siya, ang iyahang maximum distance to read sign decreases. Di ba? And there is no outlier here kasi walay nalayo kaayo pod, no? Kasagara nara diri sa line gani. Okay? So, what is the relationship between the maximum distance to read sign and the driver's age? Based on this graph, what can you say?
Inversely proportional.
Inversely proportional, yes. Because as the driver's age increases, his maximum distance to read sign actually what? Decreases. Ha? Mag-increase yung age, pero ang iyahang maximum distance kay mag-decrease. Yes, that's why you say inversely proportional, correct. So the time series graph, meron naman tayo kanina, but this is a time series graph on US unemployment rate. So from 19, that's why it's called time series graph. You have from 1998, 1999, 2000. So the unemployment rate in terms of percent, so you have here around 4.5 or 4.6%. Then it drops to 4.1, that's to 4%, and down the line. But as the year goes by, notice the unemployment rate increases. So this is a reality, even in the Philippines. No? Meron tayong ganyan na ang unemployment rate natin increases. So these are the references. And when you do your activity, by the way, I do not know, ang next topic which I would like to finish is on, what do you call this one? On cryptography. Okay, I'm going to finish cryptography today also because you will have to do an assignment along with the feed point. So, di ba, ang inyong activity 9 is due on Thursday, correct? Nakita na ba ninyo ang nakita na ninyo? Okay, nakita na ninyo ang video na ay feed point? Yes po. Okay. Yes. So in there, the sample of the feed point is actually encrypted. That is our next topic, which is on cryptology. So this one, I will post your assignment for this sa data visualization. It will be due on October 22, 10 days after. Kasi medyo tatlong problems lang naman yon, but you have to study. Okay? So, October 22 due. Today is October 12, right? So, 10 days after. So just wait for the post that I will give about your assignment or activity. That will be your activity 11. Di ba kasi activity 10 ninyo is on tessellation, which is due on October 19. So, Monday next week. Naumpisahan nyo na yung tessellation ninyo?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Cover yun. Mag-color na lang
Ma'am.
siguro yung iba. Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am. Ma'am, pwede, kuan ma'am, di ko kabalo atong naong ma'am, oy.
Oh,
Pwede
it all
crocodile.
depends.
Pwede crocodile.
Oh, yes. Pwede.
Salamat,
It's all
ma'am.
up to you. Okay. Kahit ano, basta tessellation. Ha? Okay. Sige. So we'll end with this. We'll have another topic. So these are the things that you can make use of in making your assignment for activity 11, which is on data visualization. So your meta chart, YouTube, and your infographic needs. So, and tayo dyan, and then, let's see, and kung na itong stop na tayong recording.